This changes everything for the Toronto Maple Leafs as we are now around 24 hours away from the biggest game in the Core 4 era and one of the biggest games in franchise history. We have some interesting updates to go over today, including one specific thing that will decide this entire series in tomorrow night's game. We'll break down exactly what that is and discuss what it means going forward, as well as some other craziness to go over. You don't want to stay tuned to the end of this video because we have a ton to go over today, and some of which has fans fired up. But before we get into all that, what has us fired up is the fact that your support has been unbelievable. If you're a part of the 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, we're getting close to 20,000 subscribers. Unbelievable support as of late, so thank you guys. And we'll be live following tomorrow night's game, win or lose. It's going to be a crazy one. Darius, tomorrow is going to be a crazy day. The calm before the storm here now, around 24 hours or so, give or take, away from Game 7, which is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Eastern, for those wondering. We have some updates to go over, some interesting things, and I want to focus on right now the man of the hour, well, man of the hour tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, the man of the 24 hours, which is Joseph Woll. And obviously, all the focus in yesterday's game, and should, rightfully so, should be on Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, the core four, all these different things. Matthews finally scoring his goal. But not only did Joseph Woll get a shutout, this is going to provide him confidence heading into Game 7 tomorrow that no one's really speaking about here. And he spoke out himself in the Game 6 win. We came out and played our best game of the series, and there's been some hits thrown. There's been some craziness all series long, and Game 6 was probably the least a chippy game out of them all, at least as it pertains to dirty hits from both sides and, roughness there. But Darius, not only is Joseph Woll going to be able to build on the confidence, and that was the best game he's ever played in his career, but also the way the Leafs played yesterday regarding the defense in a video, we had earlier, and we've been discussing it throughout the, this entire day. Their lack of high danger shots allowed, it changes everything for this team, and that directly correlates to Joseph Woll.
Absolutely. Like coming off of, last night's win, he's building that confidence up, and he always really had it. Like he's come up big. We'll get into some stats in a second in games that the Leafs need him to. So I have no doubt that he's going to have a great Game 7. They're going to need him to. But again, a lot of people are making the argument he didn't even play that well. They didn't have a lot of high danger scoring chances. I think there was only 3 shots from the slot in the entire game from the Florida Panthers. Good. He's just a part of the team. It's a team game, and they were doing exactly what they want to do, and they executed perfectly. They did it against the Ottawa Senators, and they did it in Game 6 against the Florida Panthers. So if they can execute that again to a T in Game 7, then they will find success because Joseph Woll will stop all those shots from the perimeter, and it's just really easy for goalies to do that. So I have confidence in Joseph Woll. I always have. Do I think Anthony Stolarz, if healthy, should be in? Yep, yeah, probably. But I think that, even if he was healthy for Game 7, you got to ride with the momentum. Joseph Woll is going to be the guy for the Leafs right now. And let's not look too much further, right? We got to focus on this Game 7, but I have confidence in Joseph Woll. I have confidence in the team right now. Let's enjoy what this is. Let's go for the ride. And again, some of the stats are pretty crazy. I have every reason to believe he's going to have a great game. And obviously, he said that they're not done yet, but they played a really good game. I'm excited for Game 7.
Yeah, let's dive into some of those stats here. And let's look at his stats in elimination games. There's actually kind of a crazy stat here. He has 4-1, including yesterday's game, with a 1.13 goals against average, a 958, save percentage, and 1 shutout. Of course, that shutout was yesterday, but this is not just yesterday's game. This is a 5-game sample size. He has been absolutely fantastic. And if and we think back to last year, Game 7 against the Bruins, the fact that he got hurt in Game 6, the last few seconds, he probably also feels some sort of, maybe revenge coming for himself internally because he missed Game 7. And Samsonov didn't have a bad game by any means against the Bruins last year, but he wasn't the same as Joseph Woll. If Woll can build on this and have a fantastic showing, this team has the capability to win if Joseph Woll has a great game. He's starting to get a little more comfortable playing the puck as well, still nowhere near as good as Anthony Stolarz, but I also think the Toronto Maple Leafs themselves are starting to get more comfortable in learning how, I guess, Joseph Woll doesn't play the puck as much as Anthony Stolarz does, which you're naturally getting used to. And if he wins, not to get ahead of myself here, but if he wins this game tomorrow and has a fantastic start, we're looking very good heading into the next series. But regardless of that, the stats are incredible. And the save percentage, feel free to read this here, all above 950 besides one game, which is Game 5 and 4, which is still respectable at 930. He's a big game performer. He showed it yesterday, and he's hopefully going to show it in tomorrow night's game, in the biggest game of his career, the biggest game in the Core 4 era, and even one of the biggest games in franchise history here.
Yeah, and he's 4-1 in elimination games, like a great record, and obviously brought them to Game 7 last year. Couldn't, take the goal for that game, but he brought them there with a couple performances. He should have had another shutout last year, but obviously the Bruins scored with like 0.1 seconds left, but could have had another one as well. But a 958 in those games, that is unbelievable. Like, he's putting on great performances when they need him, and he's been, talking about the last couple of years of mindfulness and how he gets ready and prepares for games. I'm a big fan of that, especially as a goalie. Like, everything that he's talked about the last couple of years just seems like he's cool, calm, and collected. Yes, he let in a bad goal in game 3, I believe it was, of this series, but other than that, I think he's made some good saves. I wouldn't pin game 5 on him at all. I saw people doing that. It really was not his fault. I mean, it's a team effort at the end of the day. You need your goalie to play well, but man, the team left him out to dry in that one. It was not his fault. So I'm expecting a big game from him. He has shown up when the Leafs need him the most. So I'm expecting nothing different tomorrow. And everyone needs to show up. They're going to war. This is game 7. All the dirty hits, all that stuff, that's all behind them. Both teams are going to compete hard. They want to win. Nobody's going to want to take a dumb penalty. So it's going to be a really good game. And hopefully the Leafs come out on top. And if they play the way that they did yesterday in game 6, they will find success. If all the shots are to the perimeter and they limit, high danger scoring chances, and everyone's coming back, the defense is moving the puck quickly, the forwards are coming back, you have that support from your centerman in your own zone, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, we saw their forecheck be aggressive yesterday. The second effort by everybody. I mean, whether that's even Calle Yarncroke, who has great speed for the age that he is in the low 30s. He looks really, really good out there. Not necessarily offensively, and he hasn't looked good this playoff run. But in yesterday's game, he at least fights for pucks, and that's what Craig Berube wants him to do. But everybody did. Scott Laughton, a fantastic game yesterday. He's really making his presence known. And Austin Matthews spoke out about Joseph Woll making his presence known, saying he's one of the most focused guys I've been around in my career. I think he understands who he is and makes himself successful, and he does it to a T. He's very professional every single day, just a calm and focused, or mixed, sorry, of calm and focused. I think both goalies this year have been exceptional for us, and for him to step in like he has, we had all the confidence in the world that no matter who's going to be in the net, they're going to come up big, and he's been playing great. And that's, for most teams, if you knock out your starting goaltender, whether that's Florida, whether that's Tampa Bay, whatever it ends up being, you're not necessarily screwed. We've seen the Oilers kind of, make it work to a degree, but they kind of changed because of, some bad play by Swordscanner. But regardless of that, the Leafs are blessed in the sense that they've had very good goaltenders. And also something to keep in mind, I think now Joseph Woll's finally starting to get his rhythm. He was still thrown into the fire here. Coming into this series against Florida, he had no idea he was going to be playing. Yes, he always has to be prepared for it, but that was not something that, you prepare for it, but you don't always expect it. And for him now to be kind of settled in a little bit, I think, game 5, Paul Maurice came out yesterday and said, hey, the Leafs had a great game. Yes, they lost 6-1. They still played well. And that's back-to-back games now where the Leafs, obviously game 5, they played bad, especially on the scoreboard, but they at least fought a little bit. Still a pretty bad game. We wiped that one away. But yesterday's game, it was a display of everything they've ever worked for. And for Pacioretty, they're going to war, and we're now just 24 hours-ish away from watching the Leafs go to war, and it's always scary, especially you've never made it this far in the Core 4 era. Getting to Game 7 in the second round, you've worked all year for this. It's the best team they've ever had in the Core 4 era. They have a chance to win it, and I really hope that they show up and just silence the narrative surrounding this Core 4, which the narrative is true. They've been horrible, and hopefully that can change all starting in about a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Great opportunity in front of them, right? If you lose, we know there's going to be changes. We'll talk about that when that happens. But if they win, they have a great opportunity to completely change the narrative. It'll be the first time they'll be in the third round in this era, the first time in the third round since 2002, ironically enough, against the Carolina Hurricanes as well. So that would be a fun story as well. But yeah, I like the way that Matthews kind of leads the way in, pumping his goalie's tires a little bit too, like talking him up and everything to the media, because of course, like game 5, a lot of people were dogging on, Joseph Woll, and it's easy to do that on the goaltender, especially in Toronto sometimes. But, Austin Matthews standing up for his goaltender, which I like, because I think they do have faith in him, and they're starting to play a game like they did in game 6, where, it is with some confidence with him in the net. And the other thing I was thinking too, it could be awkward, if the Leafs do win this game, with everyone leaving the arena early in game 5, and Leaf fans, some of them kind of turning on the team in game 5. But I liked Matthews' quote at the end of game 5, where he was like, because a lot of people talk about how sometimes Scotiabank Arena is very quiet, and we're heading there for a game 7. I feel like it's going to be very loud and, rocking. But a lot of people like to talk about how it's quiet sometimes and they don't, cheer on the team and stuff like that. But Matthews at the end of game 5 said we gave them nothing to cheer about, right? And I have to agree with that. And I'm glad that he said that, because now I feel like they have an opportunity in front of them and they know, okay, let's give them something to cheer about. Let's actually change the narrative here. We have a great opportunity. So we'll see if they take it or not. They've set themselves up nicely here. So they have the momentum coming into this game. We'll see what they do with it. I'm feeling hopeful, even though, there's there's no reason to over the last 8 years. But they have one last shot. Let's see what they do.
And hopefully they take care of business. Let us know down below what your thoughts are. Do you have faith? And let me know your prediction for the game tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be crazy. And hopefully tomorrow around this time, we're going to be discussing a Game 7 victory and leading our focus into the conference finals for the first time in the Core 4 era.